wartime munitions factories, the positive effects of supporting female workers in all aspects of life had become clear. To sustain a strong and resilient workforce, high priority had been given to healthcare and good nutrition, including the introduction of canteens. Special provision had been made for pregnant women and mothers of young children, including subsidised childcare schemes. Effort had gone into providing good quality accommodation for women working far from home, along with sporting and leisure facilities, which offered the workers plenty of opportunity to meet people from outside their usual social sphere. Training and education had been implemented on an unprecedented scale for female workers, who had shown that they could excel in many areas. This was particularly significant at a time when only a tiny proportion of university students in all subjects were female, and the number taking mathematics and engineering subjects was vanishingly small. Taken together, these elements might have been seen to prefigure a feminist utopia, until, when the war ended, it all started to go badly wrong. The magnificent women who populate this book called themselves engineers, but their revolutionary machines were more than simply mechanical objects, such as cars and boats and planes. Through their achievements at work and their campaigns to promote women's liberation, born of the fight for the franchise and their own wartime experiences, they prepared the ground for a social revolution that would put fair and equitable treatment of the sexes firmly on the political agenda. It amounted to a vibrant wave of feminism that, until now, has largely eluded the attention of historians. Chapter 1. Leading Ladies. On the 23rd of June 1919, 7 exceptional women gathered at 46 Dover Street in London's Mayfair to do something that had never been done before, to create a professional organisation dedicated to campaigning for women's rights. It was the official birth of the Women's Engineering Society, the fruit of an idea conceived several months earlier, as the guns of the Great War fell silent. Each of the 7 women was required to sign a document, giving her name, address, and marital status. Outside the inner circle, but keeping an eagle eye on its every move, was Caroline Haslett, a young electrical engineer and former suffragette, who earlier that year had been appointed the Society's first administrator. At the head of the table was Katharine, Lady Parsons, a commanding and charismatic figure, who gave her address as 6 Windsor Terrace, Newcastle upon Tyne. Katharine was the wife of the revered engineer, Sir Charles Parsons, whose development of the steam turbine had changed history by revolutionising the propulsion of ships and providing the means for the cheap and widespread generation of electricity. In 1927, Charles Parsons would be admitted to the Order of Merit, an honour in the personal gift of the sovereign. From the early days of their marriage, Katharine had been immersed in her husband's work, supporting the creation of his engineering works at Heaton and Wallsend, east of Newcastle, in the 1880s and 1890s. She had championed the employment of women in engineering and shipbuilding during the war, and delivered an influential speech in 1919, highlighting this phenomenon. The first signatory in the group was Eleanor, Lady Shelley-Rolls, a keen balloonist, the sister of the late Charles Rolls, with whom she shared a passion for speed and danger. Charles had partnered Henry Royce in a fabulously successful automobile production business, set up in 1906, until he was killed in a flying accident 4 years later, at the age of 32. After the death of her 2 remaining brothers during the war, Lady Shelley-Rolls became heir to a large fortune and the Hendra, the family mansion and estate in Monmouthshire. On her marriage in 1898 to Sir John Shelley, a great-nephew of the poet Shelley, the couple changed their name to Shelley-Rolls. The youngest founder, and one of only 2 in the group identified as spinsters, was 34-year-old Rachel Parsons, the sole surviving child of Charles and Katharine Parsons, who was living at her parents' London address, 1 Upper Brook Street, near Hyde Park, having left behind early in the war.